welcome back. So we've got this beautiful form. We are the envy of all of our neighbors, but we don't really save anything or do anything with the data. So let's start tackling the data side of things and actually like showing something. So things usually start with HTML, so we'll go ahead and start there. I'm going to clean up my workspace a little here. And so right now we've got this top area, which has a nav bar in it. Then we've got this whole area with the form. And now what we want to do is we want to kind of add a place for some data. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add an HR, which is kind of like puts a little line on there. And then we're going to have another container down here. Now I chose to do the HR outside of the container just so that it would actually go full screen. So we just kind of got a little line here that shoots across. And inside the second container, what we're going to do is we're going to make a table. So we can go back over to Bootstrap and we can kind of say, hey, how do I make tables? What kind of things do I want on tables? And so I kind of like this striped rows look. So here's an example, one of their tables. Whenever you borrowed things from Bootstrap, you could just grab the table thing here, or you could grab like the actual like CSS that they use to make this thing. It doesn't really matter. I guess I'll type a little more and I'll just kind of grab this. So here's what I want to do is I want to grab a table. I think it's kind of funny that with Bootstrap you have a table element, but then you also have a class called table. That's so you could use regular tables or you could use a Bootstrap style table. So they give you that option, which is kind of nice. So now I've got to start making things for our table. A table consists of kind of two areas. There's the T head area and then the T body area. So depending on how much HTML, maybe you've done things with T head and T body, or maybe you haven't, but it's pretty easy either way. Within either element, you're going to have TRs, so you're going to have table rows inside of there. So if we had like 2 in the body and then 1 in the header, those would be our TRs. Inside the header area, so you're going to have either THs or TDs. So we're going to use THs up here. So I'm going to have a TH there, and then another TH. And what this is going to be is one's going to be for the quote, and then the other is going to be for the movie, right? Cool. So that's going to give me a table row there. One thing that's annoying about tables is if there's 2 columns up here, there really should be 2 columns, everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and add a TD here. So this will just be some quote. You can see I'm kind of getting a little lazy. And then this will be from some movie. And I'm going to be really lazy. I'm just going to copy these and just say some quote 2 and from some movie 2. So I did that kind of fast. But it's because there's really nothing like new Angular here. It's just making a table. So there's kind of the Bootstrap stuff up here. And then everything in here is just straight old school HTML like it's been for the last, 40 years. Let's go see what it looks like. All right, so it looks like my form takes up a lot of the space, and you can see that we've got some quote and some movie, and things are going good. And the way this table striping goes is if you were to make even more, so I'm just kind of duplicate them there, you can see that you kind of get this stripe look going down. And I think that looks good enough. There's a little bit more I could do to kind of like give it some padding and things like that, but I think it looks pretty good. So you've got quotes and you've got movies, so that's super. Now the thing is though, is we don't want to hard code data. That's not our goal. So our goal is to actually do a repeated field here. So this TR, what I'm going to do is something new. I'm going to say a-ng4. We're going to use ng4s quite a bit in this class. This just happens to be our first time. And let's use the snippet to kind of auto-complete things for us. And so what it completed is it completed star ng4 let item of list. And what this is going to be is this is going to be movie quote of movie quotes. So I'm going to have an array and it's going to be called movie quotes. And then each movie quote in there is a movie quote. Now these are ones that are saved in our database. We've actually got to be careful about our names now because we've got a movie quote here and then we've also got one up here called movie quote. Here's what I want to do before I get too deep into this. I'm going to rename the top one just so that it's not the same name, right? Because right now my top one is called movie quote, and then this one down here, which is a variable inside the array, is called movie quote. I don't like that. Refactors are great for TypeScript files. When you're in an HTML file, you do it old school, right? So literally what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the word movie quote. I'm going to hit Command F on my Mac, probably Control F on Windows. And then from find, what you can do is you can actually expand it. Yours probably didn't have that. You can expand it to do replace. Now, if I do form movie quote and replace it with movie quote and replace it with form movie quote, it's going to find a lot of hits because it's going to kind of like be recursive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match case, and then that'll make it to where it doesn't recursively find itself after each change. So if I go through here and I see which ones I want to change, this one, form or movie quote dot form, I actually don't want to change that one. You know what I could do? I could probably add a dot. Ooh, yeah, I'll do that as well. So I'm going to change that and replace it with that. Now, let me give myself some more screen real estate. Now I think I've actually found a hit that I can just say replace all to as well. So yeah, that's great. All right, so I refactored that inside the HTML with a lame find replace because there's no good refactoring inside HTML. And we changed the names. Now, where we shot ourselves in the foot is that same name is also over here, and we need to make sure to change it over here as well. Now, over here, you can use refactor, and refactor is F2, right? Or on a Mac, sometimes you have to hit function F2. So this is going to be my form movie quote, and you can see that it does refactor the way you expect. So that was a little aside, but we should probably go check it really quick. There's a chance that this is going to cause my app to crash, though, and it's going to be hard to check. But if I say AB, it looks like things are going good still. And if I hit submit, it looks like things are going good. All right, tangent over. Had to go on that tangent because I had the same variable used in two places with the same name, and they were different variables. Let's keep going back on this path. So we've got a loop. So let movie quote of movie quotes. So that array doesn't exist yet. I'm going to go fix that at some point. What I'm going to do in here is I'm going to say movie quotes dot quote, or I'm going to say movie quote dot movie. So what this is going to do is it's going to loop over my array, which is going to be kept over in JavaScript, and it's going to have a table row for every item in the array. So I actually only need one of them because it's going to be a loop now, right? Cool, so that's great, except for the fact that that variable doesn't exist over here. So I'm going to need a movie quote array called movie quotes, plural. You can say even that this is a movie quote array, and then you can add some items to it. Interesting side note, you can say that it's a movie quote array like this, or if you come from a Java background, you can say it like that. They are identical. It's the same syntax for a different thing. So right now it's an empty array. What I want to do is I want to not make you type in the array, but I want some starting data. So I'll make available above this video and also right here some data you can just kind of like copy in, right? So that are just kind of paste in some temporary data. Now eventually I'm going to delete this, so I'm just going to go ahead and just use it for a simple test. But if this works, it should take my movie quotes array from here, and it should go through this loop, and it should have one for every row. So we can go see if that actually does stuff, and we can see that it does, right? So yo Adrian from Rocky, that is exactly what I had right here. And then there's three more. I'll be back, King of the World, and hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die, from The Princess Bride. Super. So things went really well there. And I would call this the end of the video, except for the next step is just so easy. We're going to stick it in here as well. So if I say AB, it says to do, submit that object. All I really need to do is I need to find that area where we submit. So right here. And I need to just say this dot movie quotes dot push this dot for movie quote. And that's kind of it, right? So I can take off my console log. One thing is going to happen that I don't want to do, but I'm going to go ahead and let it happen. So A, B, C, D, F, G. So I do that and I hit submit. It put it on at the bottom. And that's to be expected because push put things to the end. You can do a little better than push, though, by saying unshift. JavaScript is a crazy language, and if you want to push something to the beginning of the array, there's just a command called unshift. So this is my new quote, my movie, and as soon as I hit enter or click the submit button, it says my new quote, my movie, and it's right up top. Cool, so that is read, and so we're able to display things. Doing my git review here, you can see that, well, apparently I moved to space from that line, but I did the for movie quote refactor at the top there. That's all good. And then my bottom area is just like all new stuff, which is great. And then in TypeScript, I did my refactor on that guy. I brought in my array, and then I actually did the unshift action. So this is a finished local only movie quotes. So the first step is done. We're able to do things to our heart's content, and it works pretty well. The problem with local only is that if you refresh the app, all your data goes away, and it's certainly not saved in the cloud and shared with other people's. But we've got a pretty cool app, and next time what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to bring in Firebase. All right, see you next time. Bye.